Well, this is going to be great.
Welcome to the White House Pod with David A.R.
I'm gonna finish what I started.
It's not easy, but it's simple. Well, we're back. Danica, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to meet you finally. I don't think I've ever met you, which is crazy.
I know. I feel like we know so many people in common, and we've never actually met.
Exactly. Dylan's here, too. Hi, Dylan.
What's going on, buddy?
How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm
you
excited for this.
I mean, how could you not be? It's Danica McKellar. Like, man, amazing. With an A.R., not an E.R.
There you go.
That's right.
It's kind of like me. A.R. Okay, so Danica, where are you coming from?
I'm in Tennessee.
Nice. Like Nashville or like the high society
Not exactly
area?
Nashville, but like not too far. That's probably the closest big city. We moved here from Los Angeles 2.5 years ago. Gosh, almost 3 years ago. And we love it. We love being like in the country, just not in the city anymore. No more, like, there's not so much concrete. There are more trees and rolling hills, and we were ready for a change. And I grew up in Southern California. I mean, my whole life. Same with my husband.
Now, can you
All
mention
our
the
lives.
city that you're in, or is this like because the paparazzi just are you know?
Oh yeah, I
gonna
never
head-
give specifics.
Oh, got it. Okay, all right. That's exactly why, Dylan.
There you go.
I mean, sorry, paparazzi out there who were hoping to you know go to the city of Danica. No go. Yeah.
No
okay.
go.
So, were you from? Did you were you born in L.A. or like where were you born?
I was born in San Diego.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
you started acting obviously at an incredible young age. Like how did you get
I mean, I
going?
was 10, I guess, when I started working professionally, and then the Wonder Years started when I was 12.
Now, did your family move up from San Diego, or how long did you stay in San Diego before you
No,
moved to LA?
so my parents got divorced when I was 7, and so we moved from San Diego to Los Angeles at that time. And then my sister and I would go to San Diego to see my dad every other week, every other weekend, really. And so we were connected to San Diego, and we still are. But like our home base was Los Angeles, so we were already there. And we went there for my mom's work. She was doing some producing.
Oh,
And then my sister and I started taking acting classes on the advice of one of her friends, and we loved it. We had so much fun. We went to Lee Strasberg Institute in Hollywood and started doing plays for them and got agents and started doing commercials. But my mom she was like, look, this is a hobby. This is not going to take over your lives. So I wasn't allowed to audition for series regular parts or movies. And certainly nothing that took us out of town. So that was like the rule for the agent. Well, the part of Winnie Cooper was supposed to be a guest role on the pilot episode only. And in fact, the end narration after the first kiss happens, if you're familiar at all,
Yeah.
it used to say, the original, in the script, it said that was our first kiss together, our first kiss and our last kiss together. And I remember when the pilot aired and they left off the last part, and I was like, that's interesting. Now, at that point, they'd already offered me a part, but I still thought there were going to be no more kisses because I had read that, you know. But about 4 days into shooting, the producers reached out to my mom and said, hey, look, we think that Danica and Fred have this great chemistry. We want to reimagine this role and make her a series regular. And my mom was like, wait, I don't know. This is not. But she's like, you know, the moms, Fred, Josh, Jason's moms, they were all like really down to earth, really cared about their kids first. And were not the stage mom type. And so she said, and she got me this great lawyer, and we got this contract with a loophole. She's like, if you ever want to get out of this, this is a 7-year contract. If you ever want to get out, you just say the word and you're going to be done. I'm like, no, I love this. I want to do this. And that's how that happened. If Winnie Cooper had been an original, like a series regular role, I never would have even gotten an audition, let alone been allowed to audition.
how was that your first kiss in life as well?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's kind of a good way to have like a kiss. Your first kiss is
Because you know it's coming, right?
Well, you know it's
the
coming,
upside
and then
is-
also, yeah, then it just gets, you know, whatever. The entire world gets to see it.
Yes, well, that was the 6th take. The reason I know that, the one that airs, is because
What happened to
we
the
did it
first
6
5?
times.
What was
What?
Fred doing on the first 5 that they were?
It was, I know, right? Well, on the last take, I remember he started stroking my hair afterwards, and that's the one they used, and so that's how I know that's the 6th take.
Was
And actually, there's a DVD set of the Wonder Years, and my mom had saved the dailies. So they gave us the dailies from that scene. And my mom was the only one who had the first 5 takes. And so when they did it, the Wonder Years DVD 10 years ago, they were asking it, like, does anybody have? We're like, we have this. Do you guys want it? And so it's part of the DVD set behind the scenes.
That's super cool.
Isn't that cool?
Like, I mean, I remember I was on Evening Shade in the 90s, right? And so,
Yes.
but, you know, they had the big tapes, and they would give me for my reel, because I was only recurring on there, but they would give me for my reel, you know, these
The half-inch?
Yeah, those massive.
The big half-inch tapes?
Yeah. And that's what I think I still have those in my garage. But is that the way you had, like, the dailies from there?
I think it was just VHS tapes that we had.
Oh, okay.
I mean, because
this was 90s,
I've actually
right?
recently gone through all my old stuff, and I've had some things digitized, but that was 10 years ago that they asked for that.
Okay, so how the Wonder Years? Then you were there for 7 years.
6 years.
6 years. Okay.
People listening and think that I got my math wrong. It's a 7-year contract that you sign. They have the option to renew it each year.
Thank goodness.
Only renewed it for 6 years because the ABC decided to cancel us after 6 years.
You're like a first child, aren't you?
Yes. Why do you ask?
Because you're very attention to detail here.
Well,
you're not
I
letting
also was a
anything
math
go
major.
underneath the rug here, just to be very
No,
clear.
I was a math major, and so
That
I
makes sense,
figure
too.
people have an expectation of precision from me, and they have a right to have that expectation.
Are you building like nuclear things on the side too?
No. But I have, I write math books I have books to help kids from ages babies through high school geometry, and I've been writing them for 20 years. This actually marks the 20th year of me as a math author. And my 12th book comes out later this year. So I have a dozen books.
When it says you're a best-selling author, is it because of these math books or like?
Yes, indeed.
Is
the
it
only
really?
books I've ever written. Yeah,
Wow.
in fact, hang on.
Well, her new one is "I Love You 100"
This is my first
and
book
counting
ever.
book full of love. That doesn't sound like a math
so
book.
this is my first one ever. It was a New York
doesn't
Times
suck.
bestseller for like 2 years. Math doesn't suck. It's for middle school kids, and
Is there math in there, or just a pretty math teacher on
it teaches
on the
it
cover?
teaches fractions, decimals, percents.
Do you like have pictures
beginning-
in there too, like with like this with the stick, and it's like here, this
I
is
try to make it kind of fun.
all right. You do
So
have pictures, but
there's-
not pictures of you though. There's no pictures of you in there. There's like
No, well, no.
well,
Why would there be pictures of me?
well because you're like it's an awesome cover, right?
Thank you. I'm teaching math.
Sure, of course.
It's very girly. Like it's very conversational, and there's sidebars all over it.
Dylan, did you ever have an attractive math teacher such as Danica?
No.
Right, exactly.
But I loved math.
I
was actually really good at math.
I would have liked math better if Danica had been teaching me with that. Like,
I think everybody would have.
exactly. It could have turned into a
Really?
best-selling. All right, so do we do videos of you doing math too, teaching math?
Yes, there's some videos out there. You can Google stuff. There's if you go to McKellarmath.com and you go to fun links, you can find a video of me singing 139 digits of pi, for example. I wrote a pi song 11 years ago and recorded it.
We're showing
And
that right now,
I
actually, on
posted
the
it just a
YouTube.
few days ago
Who
because
would know
pi
that?
is, for those who may not be aware, is 3.14.
Of course I knew that.
Whereas the ratio of every circle circumference to diameter, and it has an infinite number of digits. It's infinite, but my song has 139 digits. People are like, oh, does it have all the digits of pi? And I always love to say, no, that would take forever.
And David, did you know that none of the digits repeat?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
That actually can't be true.
Well,
way to
but
go,
Which
Dylan.
said-
Way to throw
because
out
there's
a
an
fact
infinite
that
number,
isn't true.
Which means that there is an infinite number. If there's an infinite number of digits, I'm so nerding out now.
That's
Every
okay.
single combination of digits that you can imagine is there somewhere in the line. It's mathematically, it has to be true, which means that you can repeat a whole big section several times, and that has to happen at some point because you have an infinite number of digits. And I often wonder, just to circle this back around to
Please.
things, the infinity part of math, there's something almost divine about it. And I often wonder, like, is that part of what has always attracted me to it? That it's when you get into the higher math and you're doing calculus and things, you're studying, like, I don't know, you're studying something kind of divine. It's something beyond our normal experience of the world. And I find that really exciting. Let it be known that math is awesome, and I can help your kids maybe get to a point where they want to pursue it in that way. And all my books are at McKellarmath.com. I've got them for little kids all the way through high school geometry. My newest book, it's called It's called
I Love You
I have the
100.
cover. This isn't the real book yet. It's
I
not
want to see
printed
that.
yet. I Love You 100, Accounting Book Full of Love. And my son is 14 years old. I just have the one child, and this is sort of like us from when he was little. So
Aw.
it's a very sentimental book for me. Anyway, it teaches kids to count to 100, so it's good for kindergartners. And it's all in the story of unconditional love between a parent and child.
I love it. All right, wait. Okay, so how did you from Wonder Years? You go from Wonder Years. Where do you go after Wonder Years?
It ended when I was 18.
Okay.
I was 18. It ended just a couple months before I graduated from high school. Yes. And so we stopped filming a couple months. I think the last episode aired in May, like a month before I graduated from high school. And so I went on to UCLA, and my plan was to be a film major. And I thought, got to UCLA, like, oh, okay, so done with that. New chapter of my life. Let's see what this is going to be. And of course, everywhere I went, everybody was like, oh my gosh, aren't you Winnie Cooper? Aren't you from the Wonder Years? Aren't you that girl? Aren't you that girl from that show? Aren't you that girl from TV? Like everywhere I went, like nonstop. Anyway, in the meantime,
Did you wear all kinds of like glasses and hats?
It didn't matter. The Wonder Years, it was a huge show, and everybody
very big show.
my age was watching it, and so it was crazy on campus. I actually joined a sorority just to like have a place to go where I could get to know a smaller group of girls and just like have friends that just not, it was fine. Maya and Bialik actually went to UCLA around the time that I did too. So I every now and then would see her on campus. But it was a lot to try to figure out who I was outside of that character, because when your identity is wrapped up, like as a teenager, you're trying to figure out who you are. You're trying to figure out what your space is in the world, like what your place is, who you're going to be, and why you matter, and all these questions. And for me, when I'm trying to figure out who I am, and everyone's calling me by this other name, and I'm getting all this credit for somebody who I'm not, and it's very confusing. And so you see a lot of ex-child actors go through some confusing, troubling times. For me, I was sort of saved by math, because I took a math class that was really challenging, and I did really well in it. And I was surprised. The professor, like everybody was like, oh, wait, you have a gift. You should do this. And I was like, I feel great. And I felt
the studio teacher, all those years that you were doing, school on set, didn't tell you this? She wasn't like, wow.
Well, I went back and forth between school. I was at Harvard. I went to Harvard Westlake.
Okay.
So I went to a very challenging prep school. So in that environment, I wasn't unusual. We were all like really smart, I guess. I don't know. It was a very high achieving school, and I was constantly going back and forth. And so I got good grades, but I had to work really hard to do that. And I always had to work hard. And I kind of like having to work hard. It wouldn't be as satisfying to me to get things without putting time into it and really like wrestling with things and solving puzzles and trying to figure it out. That's what's fun to me about math, is solving the puzzles and figuring stuff out and then getting that aha moment. If it was obvious from the beginning, then it wouldn't be that interesting.
It's true.
And what I try to tell people too, math strengthens your brain. It makes you smarter just by doing math. It's like exercising that problem-solving part of your brain, and that means it's good for anyone. Like whether or not you're going to go into math, it just makes you a better thinker. Kids, you're in school anyway. Why not get good at this, challenge yourself, and then exercise that part of your brain, and then you'll get a good grade and you'll be better prepared for whatever you want to do.
How long does it take us to figure ourselves out when we're in college?
That process continues on, as you know. Well, I don't know. It's funny. I just turned 50, and I feel like I'm.
Yeah, you look like you're 27.
I felt like somewhere around 40, I kind of knew who I was more, finally.
Well, and how old is your son? How old is your son?
He's 14.
Okay. That helps us grow up, too, our kids. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
What do you do after you, from the series, then you go in and were you a math major? I take it? Okay.
Yep.
After college then, do we go back? Do you still have that bug inside of you, the entertainment bug? Or?
Yes. In fact, I joined the Shakespeare group on campus my senior year, and I was doing plays and stuff, and I missed it a lot. When I first came back, I was into the business. I was doing just kind of like independent films and guest stars and stuff. And then I did a season of The West Wing, which was great. That was such a great show, and super grateful for that. And then, I got married and had a kid, and then I started doing Hallmark movies in 2015, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Bill Abbott was running Hallmark at the time, and I did a whole bunch of movies there. And then when he left and started his own network and asked me to come over, I was like, yes, sir. I credit him for reviving my career back when he was at Hallmark, like really giving me a new focus.
Yeah.
And these family-friendly movies were just, I mean, it was a dream because I could fully get behind the messages and giving people a hopeful way to look at the world and a hopeful way to solve problems. Because in every movie you have to have conflict of some kind. But how do you solve that? Do you solve that with selfishness and greed and conniving or manipulation? Or do you solve that in an earnest way, really just trying to do the right thing and figure it out? And that's the kind of characters, those are the kind of characters I wanted to portray. And Bill Abbott, his vision for that was crystal clear. And I was just felt so lucky to be a part of it.
Was it hard though
I was also writing a lot of math books during that time, by the way.
Was it hard though? Was it hard to find that, that balance of family friendly before you had met Bill over at Hallmark? Meaning like in between times or
Yeah, I mean there were definitely roles that I turned down because they were just too dark or the movie message was too dark. I just didn't like it. But I wasn't doing a lot of work in acting. I was doing a lot of guest roles. Like I said, I did The West Wing for about a year, and I was more focused on my math books. I kept getting these multiple book deals at Penguin Random House, and so that's when I wrote. I wrote a lot between 2005 and 2015. And then I also got married in 2009 and had my child at 2010. And so I had your life sort of has these different eras. And I was writing books up until, I was super pregnant and writing like a madwoman. And then when he was a year old, I was like, I need to slow down for a minute because I don't want to miss this childhood of his. And I started writing again at a much slower pace when he was a few years old.
When did we start teaching him math? Like when he was 2 or 3 or
well,
did we
at
wait till
2
he
he could recite the quadratic formula. I did that for a video though. I did that for one of my videos. It was fun.
We're showing it right now.
Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Of course, he had no idea what he was saying, but it's so cute that I have this video of him singing the quadratic formula at 2.
Is your husband in the industry as well?
So his dad and I are no longer married. His dad, Mike, is incredible, like composer, graphic artist, super talented, and yes, in the business in those ways. Not an actor. I don't
Swear them
actors.
off.
But we divorced when Draco was just a year and a half. Very unexpected. Life throws things at you, and you see things in hindsight and all the rest of it. But I'm incredibly grateful to say that he and I have a very strong co-parenting relationship. He is also in Tennessee now. And so Draco has a really good life. And that was always and is always my priority beyond anything else. So, and then I remarried in 2013, a couple years later, and Scott, wonderful guy. He is a lawyer and he is not in the business. But when he was like 20 years old, I think, he did like one episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which is funny because Melissa Joan Hart and I, who I know you're friends with, or work with at least, she's a very close friend of mine. And it's funny that we have that connection. It's such a small world.
It is a small world. I would imagine are you doing movies with Jen Lilly too over there?
I did one movie with her for Lifetime.
You guys look like you could be sisters, don't you?
Think?
They could look like they could be sisters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You think so?
I think
Thank
so.
you.
Absolutely. From your faces. Obviously,
Yeah.
your hair colors are, different.
Well, she's always changing her hair color, so that's
true.
easy.
I mean, it's pick a day when Jen's.
That's right. No, I love Jen. She and I are really good friends.
Well, I would imagine you at this point all the people over at Great American, all the different actors and such, right?
I would say most of them. Yeah.
Have you done films with Candace now as well?
So Candace is a dear friend of mine, and I would love to tell you my faith story at some point. She was an integral part of that.
Would love to
but
hear
she, well, we never get to work together because, like, I've never
because you
so,
each
like,
are starring in your own movies.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I work with maybe a lot of the guys, but we've all worked with the same guys, but we see each other at events and often form friendships from that.
All right. So, as far as your faith journey, is this a newer thing for you? Because it also
Yes.
says you've been reading the Bible all the way through.
Yep.
How can you share about this a little bit?
Yeah. So my dad found the Lord, I would say 25 years ago, maybe. So I was already an adult, and I remember being like, "Huh, that's interesting. He seems so like happy. That's cool. I'm so happy for him. This is obviously very good for him, you know." It's like, and I'd gone to Catholic school for a few years when I was younger because that was like the best school at the time, elementary school when we first moved to Los Angeles. And I was raised in a very moral household, but not a Jesus loving household. Like it was like my mom would say, "Oh, well, Jesus was this, you know, he was a really important spiritual leader at the time. Like he had really good messages about love." You know, that's kind of what I heard. And like that was it. I was like, "Well, okay, cool." I first became comfortable with the idea of God, like even saying the word and not feeling strange about it when I went to Al-Anon. In college, I had a boyfriend who had an alcohol problem. He was going to AA and he suggested I go to Al-Anon. It's like, what's Al-Anon? Well, it's the program that it's a 12-step program that people go to if they're involved with somebody or have somebody in their life who has an alcohol or drug problem. And in that program, they talk about God, about like let go and let God. And so I started off wanting to call God higher power. That was more comfortable for me. I understood that. But then in that program, because I stayed in the program even after he and I broke up, because it's like this is such good life lessons. Like I really felt, you know, like I was getting so much out of it, and really about not being in control of everything, just like letting go, letting God. Like, okay, there's something bigger here, orchestrating everything. Okay, still, I would find myself. I've always been a worrier, and anyway, fast forward to 2021, and Cameron Bure she would post, she doesn't do it so much anymore, but she used to read the Bible and do Insta stories on Instagram about it. And it was so like calming and like nice. And I would listen to it, and I would look forward to when she would do that. And then she read something about forgiveness. I remember I DM'd her and I was like, "Okay, so I don't get this though. Okay." And this is something that I had heard my mom say to me. Like with Christians, it's like you can do whatever you want and just ask for forgiveness, and then you're fine, and then because they were forgiven for everything, and then you just do it again. And I was like, this just doesn't make sense to me. Like it just logically, I just don't get it. And she wrote something that I have to go back and try to find it because I didn't understand it. But she said, whatever she said, like didn't make sense to me. And she goes, "Can I send you a Bible?" And I'm like, "Sure." She sent me a Bible. It's this one right here. And I was like, "Oh, this is so beautiful." And I posted about it, but I didn't read it. I didn't open it. And then like a couple months later, she randomly asked me if I wanted to go to church with her. I was like, "Sure." But then COVID was still kind of happening. And then anyway, it kept not working. But then Palm Sunday, 2022 is when it finally worked out. And I went with her. I went to Shepherd Church in Los Angeles. And they were doing the Passion Play. For whatever reason, the Holy Spirit decided to come to me. And I was completely flooded with understanding. I was completely flooded. I bawled the whole time. I got it. It just came to me. It was just gifted to me. And I got it. I understood. I was like, oh, all the things in my life, all of the things that I got from Al-Anon, all the things that I heard from my dad, that my dad said, and all of my deep desire, because I always considered myself a goody two shoes, and always sort of outside the pack because of it. Like I was never really accepted by like social groups because of it, because I just wanted to do the right thing. I didn't like to drink. I didn't like to do, and I was where's that come from? Wanting to do the right thing and just wanting to be good. Like, where does that come? And I just saw it. Everything came into focus. I realized that Jesus had been with me my whole life, and I just didn't recognize him. I suddenly recognized him. And it was the most beautiful experience I've ever had. And it's still with me. It's still in me. And I'm so grateful. And I'm humbled by the experience. I don't know what I know that I couldn't have done anything to deserve it or whatever. I just, for whatever reason, was ready. And God decided to gift that to me. And I went home and I was like, I have to tell the world. I have to tell them. I have to share the good news. That's how I thought. I'm like, wait, I thought that religion was like restrictive and it's the opposite. It's freedom. It's absolute freedom for your soul. And I just didn't get that before. Yeah. So every Palm Sunday, like my anniversary is coming up. It'll be 3 years. And I've been reading the Bible all the way through. This is my third time through. So I've read it twice all the way through, and now I'm in Deuteronomy.
What version of the Bible are we reading?
I like the New Living Translation because it's the one that
The NLT,
Candace first gave me.
Yeah.
And it just makes the most sense to me. But I have other versions. Like I do a Bible study and an in-person Bible study, and we use ESV and for that. And so I kind of expose myself to both. But I do like the New Living Translation. I feel like I get more out of it. I feel like I just understand it more. So whatever. Hopefully it doesn't really matter. But I know there's nuances in different versions. And
and for you on reading it straight through 3 times, well, now the third time, right? Do you always read the New Living version, or the?
I have, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I have been, yeah. I mean, although it's funny because so I do the Bible recap, and I think when she quotes it, I think she's quoting from ESV.
Yeah,
But
I mean, there's so many. I like the New American Standard. The NAS is the one that I've always, the version that I whatever. Read
I don't
more.
think I've been exposed to that one yet. I don't think I've.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Anyway, but the King James one is a little tougher. That's a tough
Yeah.
one. It's a little
Yes.
bit more old school.
Yes, I've seen. I'm like, okay, that's more poetic.
Yes.
I feel like,
If you
I've not
if you're a big
really-
Shakespeare fan, then
Right.
King James is like perfect
Yes.
for you.
Well, that's where you get like do unto others as you would have them do unto you,
Yep.
right? That's got to be
Yeah.
from King James. Yeah, so it's that kind of stuff, and it's more poetic.
My dad was a pastor, and so his thing was from an early age, you got to memorize scripture, and then he would have there was a thing called the Navigator 2.7 program that he put me through in high school, and out of that was the verses, and then Awana on top of it. There's a thing in the churches like every Wednesday night was the Awana, and you would have to learn all of these verses. So I learned a lot of verses growing up, and there's a certain amount that I've stuck with me, and I tried to then teach my kids these verses, because the whole idea of if it's in your brain, and when the times are tough and you're going through stuff, then those are the things that the Holy Spirit can recall to help you and encourage you through your faith. And so, but the hardest thing is my kids come home with all different versions of the Bible with the verses. And so it's kind of funny, they're saying the John 3:16, but it's like it's like 4 different versions of it, and each kid has a different school, and each kid has a different book. Anyway,
Which is fine.
it's
right?
totally
You get the
fine.
encouragement,
It's
you get the
totally fine,
encouragement.
and you just want them to learn whatever version it is of that verse that they all say the same thing. It's just tweaked a
Right.
little bit with the verbiage, but
In terms of encouragement, the devotional Jesus Calling.
yeah.
I love that thing so much. It's amazing how comforting it is.
Well, it's what a wonderful daily devotional it is.
Yeah. So I have that on hand when I need reminders mostly to chill out and trust.
Are your family members believers at this point, or how is that
So
going? Or
it's
whatever you want to
happening.
share,
My husband is. It was overnight. So everybody was like, that's wow.
She used to hit
okay.
us with math sticks all the time, and now she's like, she's loving and supportive. She found the Lord.
I'd like to think that I wasn't that different. Like I said, I feel like I just didn't recognize what it was, so I didn't have that trust. I didn't have that relationship
Yeah.
that I now have. Anyway, but my husband came to church with me I knew that I did not need to force anybody or coerce anybody. I knew that because of what happened to me. I was like, oh, no, all I need to do is just be an example. Just do my thing. I'm not going to hide anything. My husband came to church with me here in Tennessee, and and I guess he tells me later he was kind of skeptical, but he was like, okay, sure. And I looked over at one point, and he was in tears. It was this whole thing about like fathers and sons, and it was a message that was just for him. That's how it is, right? That's how it works. It was just for him. It was exactly what he needed. And he's not as like involved as I am. Like I go to an outside Bible study and I read the Bible. Like he has the New Testament. He has like the Passion Translation. Do you know about
Okay.
that? It's like very plain English.
Okay.
He reads like a little bit every night from the New Testament. So he's on his own path, but he's on a path which I'm really, really happy about.
Are you guys similar personalities though? Because he's a lawyer, so I would almost think that he was a firstborn, to be a lawyer.
He is, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
David,
You're really good at pegging.
you
like,
are
you,
two for two.
Are you a firstborn?
I'm a lastborn.
You're lastborn.
Hence,
He is
I'm
the
the
baby.
You're aware of what it must.
That's why I interrupt all the time.
You recognize firstborn.
Oh yeah, I can recognize the firstborn a mile away.
Yeah.
No, but
and like I said, my dad found the Lord a long time, decades ago.
but
I was an adult, but so he and then my mom would come to church every now and then with me.
brothers. Do you have brothers, sisters?
My sister, believe it or not, I would say strangely enough, she's in San Francisco. She found the Lord like within 2 months, completely independent of me.
Wow.
And we both thought that we influenced each other. It was like, what? Yeah, and so it's really something. She and I have always been close, but this is God.
Yeah.
You know what? You guys are close. I'm going to just gift you both at the same time.
How do you feel about now that you've left Los Angeles? You grew up here. Dylan and I are still in Burbank. We're over here, and we don't live together. For the record, in case-
Thank goodness.
but we're next to Warner Brothers over here, and we're still living in Los Angeles. How do you feel now that you've exited after all those years? Because I think about it a lot. I think about, I would love, I love Nashville in that area. I also
Yep.
love Florida and Texas, and pick up one of those states that it seems like a really good idea. But then the idea also of leaving this place that I've been in since I was 19. So I'm from Kansas originally. So
It's not hard.
It seems like
It's not hard to leave.
not hard to leave.
It's not hard.
You don't
it's
miss
not
the
hard to
palm
leave.
trees or the sunshine or anything like that.
No, in fact, I find, so you grew up with weather, and I didn't, and I think it's really fun. I love it. Here in Tennessee, you don't get like a lot of snow. You get a little bit of snow. And
Yeah.
it lasts for like a week or so.
Is it warm
maybe 2
now
weeks.
over there?
It's warm. It's beautiful. All the trees are blooming. And just
Okay.
flowers and all the trees.
What about
It's
allergies?
gorgeous.
Do you have allergies?
I do have a little bit of allergies. Yes. But
With
you
all
know
the
what?
blooming?
Honestly, it's not that big a deal. Doesn't last that long. It's just so gorgeous, and I love the seasons. I love how the scenery changes.
How did you guys pick there of all places? Like, why not go to Scottsdale?
Well,
or Iowa.
I mean,
I
honestly,
hear Iowa at this time is beautiful.
yeah. We have friends who came out here.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a lot of friends here, and at the time, it's a long story, but Draco's dad had moved to Florida for work.
Okay.
And Draco was having to fly across the country, and I was like, "This is not."
Oh, like
He didn't
every
fly by
other week?
himself.
Were you guys doing
No,
it?
but once a month. Well, he was 2 flights a month.
Okay.
It was
That's a
too
lot,
much.
though. Yeah.
It's a lot,
Especially for a kid.
So we wanted to move
a
somewhere
lot for
that's
me.
closer. Florida wasn't really our vibe. We're like, but this was, a 90-minute flight for him.
Yeah.
Once we moved here, and then they ended up moving to Tennessee as well. So it all worked out. Again, the way it worked out, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but it was divine intervention and orchestration. We now live like 10 minutes apart from each other. It's incredible.
Wow, that is incredible. All right, I only have probably 4 more minutes with you, so I have to ask you. Our whole thing is dare to dream, right? It's about people who have these dreams and these desires that hopefully that God puts in their heart, and where do they go from there? And so you have done everything in the movie industry. Now you're best-selling author. You're an incredible mom. Sounds like So you've done all these things in your life, but what do you say to people who watch this podcast or whatever, just who have those hopes, desires, and dreams? Because you started at such an early age as well. Do you say, oh well, if you're not kissing a boy on national television by the time you're 12, then I don't know what to say to you, or
because I feel like I've got more things to do. You know, probably in the creative world somehow. I've definitely gotten more involved in the producing of my movies at Great American Family Channel. Nice. One of the people say like, "Oh, why'd you move from Hallmark to Great American?" Part of it is loyalty to Bill. Part of it is that they gave me this great deal where I have multiple movies and I get to be really involved in the writing and the casting and the editing. It's so satisfying. I'm sure you're also very multi-hyphenate, but it's I have other adventures ahead, and I just kind of feel it out. But when I do have a goal, when something finally crystallizes into a specific goal, I'm a big fan of lists. you do the legwork, and then you ask God to help you, but you also have to do the legwork. What do they say? Like, do you want to catch the bus? Ask God for help, but also run. Like, you see the bus coming, and you're like, you hope they also run.
I've never heard that before, but I like that a lot.
Yeah, participate. That's one thing that I really believe in, and I love the fact that I don't know, and I probably never will know exactly, but the participation element of our relationship with God is elusive, because you're like, oh, well, it's God's plan, and God's going to do God's plan, and we can't interfere with God's plan. That's how. But also, it also requires some. And I'm wondering, is it like we're going to learn lessons in life, and you can either learn it the easy way or the hard way, and that's dependent on what we do. But the ultimate result is, I'm not. And anyway, there's something really cool and ambiguous and sort of nebulous that I'm having a lot of fun dancing around as I think about it. But there's something about participation. There's a combination of asking God's guidance and help, being open, listening. When you pray, listen, but also just doing the legwork and taking responsibility for our part of this. And I make lists. I'm like, okay, well, this is my goal. What are the things I need to do? And break it down into bite-sized pieces, because, it's too big to do all at once. Any big goal is too big. It's too much. If I want to start writing novels, which I've sort of toyed around with the idea of, okay, well, let's make a list.
How do you feel about it if you're going to write a book without math in it? Or will the novelist be a math teacher?
This would be a first. It would be a first if I do that.
I think the novelist would be a math teacher.
Maybe.
Or maybe, yeah. Or she's solving some world, dilemma with math.
With math and God somehow, right?
There you go.
For me, feeling it out, listening and feeling it out is how I decided to take a break from acting to do math. It's how I decided to start writing math books. You feel, and then now I recognize, oh, that was God. That was the Holy Spirit moving me. Just let yourself be, moved, and then it'll happen.
Is it kind of like Dancing with the Stars?
I love dancing. It's my favorite thing ever. Yes, no, but I like that you said that.
By the way, how far did you get on Dancing with the Stars? Did we go all the way to the end?
I danced 8 out of 10 weeks, so quarterfinalist.
That's a lot. What was your favorite dance out of all of them? We're showing it right now on YouTube, by the way. We're showing your dance.
Yeah, they're all on YouTube, yeah.
I know.
Probably the Beauty and the Beast number, Quick Step. Be Our Guest.
Yeah. Who was your guy? Was he tall, or was he, when he was playing the Beast, dancing?
Val?
Okay.
Well, it was his height, whatever his height is. Yeah. But it was really, really fun. It's like a Broadway number.
That's
really,
fun.
really fun. And by the way, I want to make sure, I know we're out of time, but I have a movie coming out on Great American Family Channel sometime this fall. Okay. It's called Grounded. It's with me and Trevor Donovan, and it's a beautiful film. It's the first film that is so faith-based that I actually pray in it. Like, it's the first time that I've done that. I've done movies where God was mentioned here or there, but this is the first time that it's that involved. And it's lovely. It's a lovely movie. Really excited about it. And people can pre-order my book, I Love You 100. It's for kindergartners, and it's really, really sweet. It's a wonderful, beautiful opportunity for parents to explain and have their kids understand the unconditional love they have for their child. Because I don't think kids really get it sometimes. Like, they think if they're mad or upset, their parents don't love them. And this book is just a really wonderful way to show your kids that your love is unconditional love.
Danica, thank you very much for hanging out with us today. We appreciate it.
So much fun.
Yeah.
The time flew by.
I look forward to seeing you again, hopefully sometime soon, like in person, actually.
Yes, that'd be great.
Yes.
Come to Tennessee.
Why not?
Move to Tennessee. Move. You're ready. You're ready. This is the sign you've been looking for.
Yeah. Danica McKellar, I was looking for that sign, and she finally said it.
I thought you were.
Danica, thank you. All right, have a good
Thank
day.
you so much.
We'll talk to you soon. All right, so here's what you got to do for us. Please hit your, like and subscribe.
But then also turn on the notifications.
On YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah, and turn on those notifications so you know when the next episode's coming out, because it's every Tuesday. Make today a great day, and whatever's in front of you, just try to use that time to the best of your ability and find out what's in your heart that God still has for you to do. And we love you. We appreciate you. And as always, have a great day. God bless you guys.